Okay, so moving on now to problem number 2. Okay, so the second problem that we had was when we first started selling the engines to our customers. Every customer would complain that the engine would run for a while and then stop. Run for a while and then stop. The engine kept stopping, it would not run normally. Okay, and we had this complaint from every single customer. So we got our engineers to look into the problem to find out what it is. And basically what we found was that the petrol cap which you supplied with your engine, basically they weren't made correctly and there's a fault in them. Basically, for a normal petrol, I'll just try and explain this to you actually. Now, for petrol to get to the engine, okay, every petrol cap must have a way for air to enter. If air doesn't come in somehow from the petrol cap, okay, then what will happen is the fuel will stop going to the engine. If air can't be pulled through this petrol cap, the fuel will stop going to the engine. Okay, and what we found is basically, I'll show you what we found. So this is your petrol cap, okay, and I'm going to show you another petrol cap now. So I'll leave this here and I will show you one of our petrol caps from our old engines. Okay, so I'll take one out of the packet. Now, you can obviously, just by looking you can see the difference in the quality. We're not here to discuss the quality, but I want to show you what the problem is with your petrol cap. Okay, now there's a rubber seal on this petrol cap. As you can see here, there's a rubber seal. Now if we remove this rubber seal, okay, let's remove this rubber seal and we go around inside here, you should be able to see eventually that there is a little hole inside here. So if I get the screwdriver and I show you, there is a hole inside here on the petrol cap. Okay, now what this hole does, it allows air to be sucked in. Can you see that hole here? Can you see there's a hole just there, just here there's a hole. Okay, now what that hole does is it allows air to be sucked in through this hole so the fuel can flow freely to the petrol tank. Okay, now if the petrol cap does not have this hole here, what happens? I'll explain to you what happens. The fuel will not flow to the petrol tank and the engine will stop. And this is what was happening with all of the engines that you sent us. And it took us a long time and we found out what the problem was. Now I'm going to put our one down here, okay, and I will lift up and I'll show you your petrol cap here. So this is the petrol cap that comes on your engines as standard, and I'm going to remove the rubber seal here and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. If I can get this off, well, I'll use the screwdriver here to remove it. Okay, so here we go. Now if you look on your engines, I'll turn it all the way around here, you can see there is no hole anywhere inside the petrol cap. There's no hole. Okay, there's no hole there, there's no hole there, nothing. If I go all the way around, you can see here that this petrol cap does not have that hole that was on the other petrol cap. Okay, so this was the problem. These petrol caps have not been made correctly, they've been made incorrectly. They should have a hole on the inside race here, anywhere all the way around. It could be one hole for the petrol to flow freely to the tank. So that was the next problem. Now luckily we obviously, you know, we had the, if I just zoom this back, you know, from our old stock, from our previous engines, obviously we've got loads of these. I mean, we've always got loads of these in stock, so we replaced these petrol caps from our own stock. Now the thing is, obviously we were lucky that we had these, because if we never had these, then, you know, I would have had to email you and you would have to send me them, and it would just take too long, and as I say, we couldn't afford to waste any more time. So please, this is a problem that you have to fix on the next order, is you must get this petrol cap problem solved. Okay, so as I say, you need to get the petrol cap that has a hole inside there like I showed you, because your one doesn't have it, and because it doesn't have that hole, the fuel does not flow freely to the engine, and the engine stops after a while. Okay, so I need you to get a petrol cap like this and install it on all the engines for the next order. I will send you a sample of this petrol cap with the DVD so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so with that we can move on to the next issue.